So I want to say welcome to Sunil Bhave. Welcome to Kokoro.
Thank you for having me.
So whenever we do this segment, I always make some food that's associated with the theme. And today we're talking about risk. And since you and I have known each other for a long time, and one of our favorite meals to eat together is saag paneer, I thought I would try making some homemade saag, which is a huge risk because I know how much you like your saag, you know how much I like it. So I think we should give it a try. And then afterwards, I want you to tell our audience a little bit about yourself. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Looking forward to it.
Give it a try.
We definitely took a risk, but it was a risk worthwhile taking because it tastes really good, Alex.
Decent?
Very good.
So, Sunil, tell us a little bit about your background as a lawyer and as a judge.
Sure. Yeah, I served as a lawyer for 20 years. I was a public service lawyer, which means I represented the people. Most of my career was with the Illinois Attorney General's office, where I defended the state of Illinois and the people of the state of Illinois in lawsuits that were filed against them. I litigated cases both in the trial court, so we had jury trials and trials in front of judges, and also at the Court of Appeals. And I even was fortunate to have a couple opportunities to argue some big cases in front of the Illinois Supreme Court.
What made you want to go from being a lawyer to being a judge?
I think with every lawyer who's a litigator who does public service work, your primary goal is to help people. And every lawyer, you come to a certain point in your career and you start thinking, is there something more that I can do to continue in a public service role helping people? And maybe I could be a judge and help people resolve their disputes when they can't resolve their disputes on their own.
So how do you even go about becoming a judge? I think that's, a lot of people probably have no idea how you would do that. Like, I know people think, oh, you got to go to law school.
Definitely.
But what's
That's the first step.
But then, like, how do you get to that point where you can actually be a judge in a courtroom?
Well, the first thing is you have to be a lawyer. So you can't be a judge without being a lawyer first. And then it takes years of experience. But there's really two ways to become a judge. One is you can run in an election. And that's like an election like any other election. In November, every 2 years, we have elections. You go to the ballot, you punch your candidates, and you'll see a number of judges on those ballots. And if you get more votes than your opponent, you become a judge, right? A lot easier said than done. But that's the electoral way. There's also another process where those same elected judges, and here in our county, there are 250 elected judges, they choose appointed associate judges. And so I applied to be an associate judge, and you campaign, just like you would campaign in a normal election, but your voters are the elected judges. So you go around the county and you try to convince the elected judges to choose you as appointed judge.
So you got to a point where you decided, okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to run for judge. Will you kind of take us through the process of what you decided to do?
Yeah, in 2016, I thought I have enough experience to become a judge. I took that leap of faith and I applied to put in an application to be considered as an associate judge.
And what happened in the first time you tried it?
I came up short. I couldn't convince the voters, the judges, to vote for me.
And so then you decide, okay, I'm going to do it again. When did the next time happen?
So in 1 year later, 2017, there was another opportunity, and I thought I learned a lot in 2016, so I'm going to try one more time.
And you went in, you did it, and outcome?
Lost again.
And how did that feel? I mean, that had been hard.
Yeah, it's tough because the first time you run, you have your hopes up and you don't get it. So the second time you think, well, I've already done it once, now I'm going to get it. And it makes you feel pretty dejected to try twice and come up short twice.
But then there was a span of time in between the second time and the third time because you just said, okay, like I'm going to do it. I'm going to try again. When did that happen?
2021, 4 years passed. I had 17 years as a lawyer by that point. So I said third time's the charm.
And what happened that time?
And I came up short for a third time.
I mean, that's got to be really hard because you've had this dream in your mind for a long time. And now you've put yourself out there 3 times. And the third time, it's like, okay, I'm taking the risk. I'm going for it for the third time. And you said third time's a charm. And
I lost. And it's really, you really feel a sense of dejection there. And you start questioning whether this dream will ever become a reality.
How did you get yourself back up to do it again? Because I mean, it feels like you keep, like you're taking risks by going out and doing this every time, I feel like.
Well, you definitely are, because you're taking many risks. One, you're putting yourself out there. When you run for judge, be it for an election or for associate judge, it's very publicly known that you were trying to become a judge. And in 2021, I was actually a finalist. I was put on a short list. So I was down to, we had 22 openings that year, and they chose 44 people to campaign for the final 22 spots. I made the cut. And we're talking 600, 700, 800 people apply for these jobs. I made the cut to the top 44. But when you said your dream to become a judge, my dream to become a judge really was instilled in me when I worked for a judge in 2006. So by now, it's been 15 years that I had been thinking about the possibility of one day becoming a judge.
You decide though, I'm not giving up. I'm gonna do it again. Like you're getting yourself back up, and you decide you're gonna go for it one more time, yeah?
Correct, yeah. I thought in 2023 there was one more opportunity to become a judge. And I thought, if I'm going to make this a reality, I have to try. I was always comfortable, though, with the idea that becoming a judge would not materialize. I always understood that was a possibility. But what worried me was I wouldn't try to make that possibility a reality. And that's why I tried again in 2023.
And then what happened that time?
Lo and behold, I made it. I made it finally, and so now I'm an appointed associate judge in Cook County, Illinois.
Why do you think it is worth the risk of reaching for your dreams when sometimes when you take that risk, it doesn't work out?
Right. Well, you'll never know whether it works out or it doesn't work out unless you take that risk and you take that leap of faith. If you have a dream, and I've had a dream of being a judge for many years, I was committed to helping people, and I wanted to achieve that dream. But I wouldn't have never known whether that dream could have become a reality unless I took that risk. And I should say, when we talk about risk, the type of risk I took was a very calculated risk. I'm not a gambler. I'm not taking an uncalculated risk. I thought I had a legitimate chance to become a judge. But at some point, you have to take that leap of faith and put yourself out there in the public arena, and even subject yourself to possible criticism from people. That's a very scary proposition for many people. But unless you do that, you'll never know whether your dreams can be achieved.
So I just want to say thank you for being here. You're just such a remarkable individual. I think your integrity speaks volumes, what you bring to the courtroom, and it's an honor to be able to call you a friend, and thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you, Alex.